Hi, hello. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for checking out the channel. I appreciate it. Um, I got a story for you. It's a story that is infamous among my friends. I have told it numerous times, and every time I have, it's because I'm in a group of. When it started out, just like a group of like five or six of us, and I told the story to them, and they thought that's a story. That's a story, and I don't want to spoil it for you, even though the title of the story may kind of tell you where we're going. I don't want to spoil any details or any reactions even. But it's a story that got told so many times amongst my friends that anytime we were in a group of people and somebody mentioned just a story, any story, somebody who told a story once, they all kind of looked at me and they were like, "Oh, remember your story about the candy pizza? Ha ha ha!" Rolls eyes. And then there's one person in the group that we all thought, of course they were there the last time this story was told. It's not going to be told again. Not now, that's for sure. But every time there's one person that just kind of looks around the room as everybody's laughing and kind of rolling their eyes, going, What? What? Candy pizza? And as soon as they say the inevitable words, I've never heard the candy pizza story, everyone loses their minds. They all look directly at me and they say, Richard, do not tell the candy pizza story. We've all told it too many times. And they all try and tell their own version of it. They try and say, real quick, just let me give you the highlights of what happens. Boom, 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 boom. That's all you need to know. But that's no way to tell a story. That's no way to make memories. So what I want to do today is put it into internet history. The candy pizza story. And anytime that I come across another person and they say, I've never heard of the candy pizza story, Richard, would you mind telling me the candy pizza story, please? I'll simply just say, hey, you know, not everyone here wants to hear it. I think we should respect those wishes. But I made a YouTube video. You can go check it out right now or whenever you have time or the leisure to do so. And that's what I'm going to be doing today. I have prepared to tell you all the infamous, if not legendary, candy pizza story. Let me set this up. I was living in Florida at the time. We had recently moved into a new house in Florida, and I was home alone with my sister, who has asked to remain anonymous for no particular reason. This story definitely has a happy ending and isn't weird or gross or anything like that. So we were home alone. And I'll tell you, whenever I'm home alone, or at least without parents, and it's dinner time, I would eat religiously the biggest bowl of cereal for dinner that you could find. And I would often find mixing bowls, ones that could hold upwards of 8 cups. We had this like clear one that had a handle on it and a little pouring spout, which was perfect. Um, what I would do is I would go to my pantry and I would grab a big bag of the Malto Meal Cocoa Dino Bites. And not sponsored by Malto Meal or Cocoa Dino Bites in any way. I'd just pour me like that whole entire mixing bowl completely full of, of cereal. So that's what I did. Time for a big old bowl of cereal. My sister wasn't going to stop me. She wasn't going to say anything about it. But the unfortunate thing, when I went to the fridge, we were out of milk. No milk means no cereal. I'm not going to eat cereal dry. I'm not going to do it. It's against my religion. So we thought to ourselves, well, what now? We got no cereal. We got to have something for dinner. Mom and Dad aren't going to be home for X amount of hours, and we're hungry. So let's scrounge around for some food. So the scrounging started, and anything that we had in our pantry or fridge either had to be cooked or was leftovers that we deemed not suitable for dinner time. Do you ever like go to your fridge or your pantry and you see that it is packed to the brim with absolutely nothing? There's so much food there, and yet there's no choices. And that was kind of the setting of this scrounging, kind of the reason for it. Like no mac and cheese or pasta sides or nothing. We just didn't have anything. So, which both of those would have required milk, and we had none of. So we ended up going out into our what I like to dub the deep freezer. It's our a big stand-up freezer that we have in our garage. And I personally am of the mindset where if you are a middle-class white family who lives in the suburbs and you do not own a garage freezer, or at least bare minimum a garage fridge freezer, what are you doing? No, stop it, stop. Just go buy one, go get one, and then come back because that's a staple. You have to have one. So so I went out to the garage freezer, to the deep freezer, and I was looking around again, not much there. When in the bottom of the freezer, in a little drawer, I noticed what my mom had purchased a few days ago at Sam's. What we used to do is we used to get Sam's Club has pizzas that they sell in their deli, and you can buy them by the slice or whatever. But they also sold, at least at the time, their frozen pizza crusts. So you can take them, buy them from the store, bring them home, and make your own pizza with your own sauce and cheese and toppings and all that stuff whenever you wanted. So that's what we decided on doing. We thought, okay, pizza's pretty easy. We, I think, have some pasta sauce that we can at least throw on there. And that was kind of a staple in my family. Okay, don't judge me on that. We would take Aldi brand mushroom flavored pasta sauce. And that was our pizza sauce. That's what we liked. That's what we preferred. I know it's a little bit more runny than like pizza sauce, but it was good. So anyway, we decided on that. So we got two out. And we got the first one out, and you might say, two? That's a lot for, what size? That's a lot for two people. What size were these pizza crusts? Well, they were large. They were like your regular large, probably 14 or 16 inch. But what we had decided on doing was taking one of those pizzas, and we covered it completely in melted butter, and then sprinkled garlic salt all over it because, that's how you make garlic bread, right? We did that all the time, and it was delicious. So we threw that in the oven while we decided to try and find something to put on our pizza. We came across some sauce. We put that aforementioned mushroom pasta sauce on it. Went to the refrigerator and we found some mozzarella cheese and we sprinkled that all over it. And there we go. There's our pizza for the night. It looked okay. It looked okay. But I wasn't satisfied. I needed some toppings. I was more hungry than just what some regular old run-of-the-mill cheese pizza from frozen crust could satisfy. I needed more sustenance than that. And that was the first mistake I made. That was the first step down a very slippery slope. I looked in the fridge. I was hoping for bacon or pepperoni or at this point even ground beef. I mean, I'm a big no beef on a pizza type of person. Like it has to be the perfect pizza for me to want ground beef on it. Like if it's a meat lover's pizza, okay. If it's, like some people do like a really good cheeseburger pizza, that can be fine. But it's just not my thing. But I was looking for anything. We had no pepperoni. That wasn't really something we kept in our fridge. We didn't have any cooked ground beef, and Lord knows I wasn't going to dirty a pan just to make some ground beef that I didn't even really want. And we didn't have any bacon, which was a shame, because we usually kept like a little... Saying a bag of bacon is kind of weird, but that's essentially what it was. It was, if any of you know what I'm talking about, it was like that black label pre-cooked bacon that you just kind of throw in the microwave for a few seconds, and then it was crispy. We bought that at Sam's too. And so I was looking for that, but we were out. We didn't have any. So I thought to myself, well, there's more toppings that can go on things besides what can be found in a fridge. And what I'm about to tell you is hard for me to justify because I was 16 years old. My sister was even older than me. And so I don't know why we thought this was acceptable. We both have come together and decided that this was not, at any point, a good idea, nor did either of us think it was a good idea anywhere in the process. Um, it was an idea we had, and we just kind of did it. So I started looking around the kitchen again. In our kitchen, we had a cabinet off to the side, and in said cabinet, we kept all of the baking goods, right? I think it was kind of initially a joke because I went over there and I was kind of like, oh, why not this? Um, and I looked over at my sister and she was like, hmm, hmm. And that was kind of the thought process I had too, of kind of like, hmm, why not? Let's try it. Sure. Let's make a candy pizza. Um, that was mistake number two. Giving in to that, like, that little voice in your head. It's the same voice that, like, when you're standing on the edge of a cliff, that little voice in your head tells you to jump. Or you're driving on the road, and that little voice is like, what would happen if you just crossed over to the other side of traffic real quick? Oops, right off a bridge. It's the same voice. But this time it was like, what could go wrong? It's just dinner. So I grabbed the chocolate chips out of the cabinet. And if it would have stopped there, this story wouldn't have been nearly as entertaining. And I wish I could tell you it stopped there, but in the cabinet, there was also, right behind the chocolate chips, a small bag of butterscotch chips for baking, for putting in like cookies and maybe brownies or any other kind of ease that you bake. Not for pizza. Just gonna go ahead and say it. Butterscotch chips. Not for pizza. No. That's a bad decision. A wrong call. But a call that we made. A call that we made for like 10 minutes. Because that's how long it took for me to get them out of the pantry and then look at them long enough to convince ourselves that it was acceptable to put this on a pie that already had sauce and cheese on it. I'm of the mindset that if we wouldn't have put the sauce and cheese on it, it would have been probably half as disgusting. I spoiled it. It's disgusting. But we decided to do it anyway, with the sauce and cheese on it. Also in the cabinet, there were some little mini baking M&Ms. What could be better on a pizza with sauce and cheese on it? We already have the chocolate and the butterscotch. Why not chocolate and a little candy coating? What could go wrong? A little artificial coloring on that pizza. Let's do it. And that was kind of like the gateway drug into the next three toppings. The previous night, my parents had a little house party, a little get together. They had some folks over, had some friends. They all had a good time. Little meeting of adults there, and they decided to have some like accoutrements out on the on the little bar that we had there. I put them in little bowls. So that people could access them easily. Get all their fingers in each one of them. Those were regular sized M&Ms, Skittles, and Reese's Pieces. Because they're all three like the small, colorful little tiscular things that are easy to pop and nice, good candy. So I saw those on the counter after getting the the mini M&Ms, the baking M&Ms out from the cabinet. At the time, didn't seem like that big a deal. I mean, why not? right? They're just sitting there. So we grabbed those. We grabbed them. Um, there was one final accoutrement that that I decided to put on there, and my sister outright rejected it at the start. Even when I first suggested it, we were already knee deep into this thing. We had hit Skittles on pizza level of stupid, and she had the even still the mindset to be like, no, no, don't put Mike and Ike's on a pizza. When you're 16 and you've already made a lot of bad decisions about a very specific um, option in your life, you kind of just push the limits of your stupidity, right? You kind of just see like, it's like the sunken cost fallacy. You're just kind of like, well, I'm this far into it. Let's see how deep this hole goes. Um, yeah. So we weren't completely stupid about it, right? We weren't, okay, we were completely stupid about it, but we weren't like entirely stupid about it, right? So we decided that if you just ate these candies without the pizza sauce and cheese, um, if you just ate all these candies together on top of each other, that wouldn't be very good. Like, like just like a handful of random candies, some fruity, some chocolate, some butterscotch. They wouldn't be good all just mixed in there together. So we decided to section them off. So what we did was we decided that there would be two small pieces that equaled the size of one regular piece. And that's what we would put our toppings on. So like one regular sized piece, if you have 8 pieces in a pizza, we decided that one piece was chocolate chips and only chocolate chips, and then one piece was just butterscotch, and then we decided to forgo the baking M&Ms, so we just went regular M&Ms because there wouldn't really be that much of a difference. But baking M&Ms was it's what got us there. So I'm recording actually. Bye bye. um, where was I? But baking M&Ms was what kind of got us down that trail. So, um, hats off to you, baking M&Ms, wherever you may be now. Um, so we had the chocolate chips, the butterscotch, the regular M&Ms, the Skittles, the Reese's Pieces, and the Mike and Ike's. So that leaves us with 2 additional slices that have no toppings, and that's how we left it. We decided that there was going to be a corner in case all of this went down the toilet. For some unknown reason, why would this be a bad idea? We had a fallback. We're going to leave those 2 slices alone. Let them be cheese and only cheese. So that way after we finished throwing up the rest of what we ate that night, we would still have something left to fill us. It was at this time we finished decorating the pizza with all sorts of sultry goods that the oven dinged, and our garlic bread was ready. So we took out the garlic bread and we put the pizza in the oven. Now, I had the select opportunity and privilege to be the one to put this pizza in the oven. When I did so with a little too much excitement, a little too much gusto. I slid it in. The sauce we had piled a little higher than what I thought, and with the cheese neatly on top, kind of created like a little magic carpet ride. And with all those toppings just kind of sitting on top. What happened was when I slid the pizza in, the cheese on the sauce all went whoop. It didn't fall off the pizza. But I had the idea to put that back corner of no toppinged pizza, of just cheese pizza, in the back left corner of the oven. So when I slid everything forward, all the toppings kind of just covered that area. And we noticed this as soon as we slid it in, but we had decided we didn't care. At this point, it was going to be what it was. Let's just get this thing cooking. So we closed the oven. We sat there almost in silence, eating nothing but garlic bread. And if we were to break the silence, it was only to voice our opinions on just how dumb this plan was. Probably 10 minutes went by. Garlic bread half finished. We were starved at this point. We spent too long decorating the stupid pizza. We pulled it out. And let me kind of walk you through my thought process. Timer beeped. First thing that happened before we even turned the timer off, I got sick to my stomach. Instantly, it was like my brain was like, you're screwed. Have a good time. Sorry, peace, I'm gone, done. Instantly felt sick. That's why I knew it was a great idea. Good plan. Good, good plan. We got the pizza out. And what used to be a mistake had turned into a tragedy. Visually, it was about as appealing as that purple ketchup that released in the late 90s. And aesthetically, it was about as pleasing as your average concert porta potty. And I'd say the smell was about as appealing as burnt rubber. The smell might have been the best thing about that pizza. See, what I didn't know, and what I should have known, is when you cook sugar at 350 degrees for 10 to 15 minutes, you get a little bit of what's known as like crystallization of the sugar, or what I like to call melting of the sugar. I figured the chocolate, right? I figured the chocolate was going to melt easy. I even expected the M&Ms to just apart there and just kind of all fall to a puddle. The butterscotch chips I kind of expected to melt. They didn't melt as much as I thought they would, but what melted much more than I thought they would was all of the candy, especially the Mike and Ike's. They just kind of fell into nothing, leaving, we kind of pressed them down into the cheese a little bit to kind of like made sure they stayed. So they left like a little indent in the cheese filled with what is essentially melted otter pop at that point, just sugar water and food coloring. Food coloring which stained all of the perfectly white cheese around it to make it look like this pizza had entered a paintball tournament with no intention of winning whatsoever. It was bad. But we made this bed. We had to lie in it. We looked at each other and we knew what had to be done. We had to try at least one bite of each slice of this pizza. Let me give you my ratings. Now, this was 8 years ago, so I don't remember everything perfectly, but let me give it my best shot. I think at the top would probably be the chocolate chips. Just the straight chocolate chips. They didn't taste good. There were no S tier. There is no S, A, or B tier items on this list. I would even struggle to say there's a C. I'm going to say there's not even a C tier on this list. Chocolate chips is a D tier. It did not hide the fact that there was cheese or sauce, nor did the cheese or sauce hide the fact that there was chocolate. It was like two things coexisted, and your mouth knew they weren't supposed to be together. Not necessarily gag-worthy, but enough to spit out. On that note, I don't think my sister and I actually ingested a single bite of any of these slices. She says that she did, so I guess I could be wrong, but I don't remember it. So I think the next, like kind of same in the D category, would probably be the Reese's Pieces. The Reese's Pieces were okay because they were just like peanut butter on a pizza with a little tiny little crunch from the shell. Those didn't melt that well. So those were okay. Um, Same on that D tier, probably just under the Reese's Pieces on a numbered list would be the M&Ms. I think the M&Ms, the chocolate was a little worse than the chocolate chips we put on there. Um, and so it just, I don't know, it didn't have the same vibe for me. That's kind of my ranking right now. Everything else was F tier, if not double F tier. Is there a Z tier? That's what they were. Next would probably be Skittles, because they were gross and they kept their chewiness. You ever had chewy toppings on a pizza? And not like bacon fat that you have to kind of pull out it a little bit in order to not take the whole bacon with you. But like you take a bite of pizza and you're expecting it to just be like nice and chewy, and then you just chew it for a while. It tastes like fruit and cheese and mushroom pasta sauce. Not No, not a winner. F tier, squarely in the F tier. Barely deserves to be at the F tier. Um, Next up were the Mike and Ikes. Mike and Ikes were awful. Just plain not good. I really don't have much else to say about them. They tasted like a Halloween bag threw up on your pizza. It's kind of what it tasted like. But in last place would be the butterscotch chips. The butterscotch chips were repulsive. When I tell you that, you should never once try putting butterscotch chips on a cheese pizza. Believe me, I have experience. Don't do that. Not a good time. Um, it was awful. It was awful in every way. And what was probably the worst, most saddest part about the whole story is that we didn't have much cheese pizza left because all the toppings slid over. And the topping that slid over was the Mike and Ike's. And so it, not the worst, but the second worst. So really, what's the difference? Yeah, we kind of just threw that pizza away. I don't think anyone else would have wanted to try it. I honestly think my parents would have been upset coming home to find that their children are that dumb. Um, yeah. So that's the candy pizza story. Um, we kind of finished the night just eating snacks and regretting our life decisions. I don't think we told our parents about it until several years later, past the time where they could be mad at us, and they just kind of laughed at our stupidity, which is well deserved, and I hope that you did too. Thanks for joining in. Thanks for stopping by the channel, checking us out. Hit that subscribe button hit that subscribe button if you liked what you saw. And I'm planning on making quite a few more story times. So if that's what you like, stick around.